Evening, folks. Welcome back to the channel. And smash that like button right meow. You know you're going to have a good time. Pardon me while I'm still getting everything set up. If you watch these after the fact, there's no difference. But in real life, I'm about 10 minutes late. Just had some stuff going on at the house that I could not put off until later. But for the record, I would never cancel a show. I would just go live later if I had to for whatever reason. And if the lighting is different, I'm going to subscriptions looking for my own channel. If the lighting is different, that is an LED bulb. I'm sorry, that's all I could get in the meantime. My other bulb blew out. I'll have regular bulbs for next time. I just watched my pre-show though. It's making me brighter. I just hope it's not making my hat look when my hat's purple. I hope the light is not making it blue. Don't get LED lights for your house. Those are so bad for you. Oh, it's terrible. But that's just what I've got right now. Oh no. Just getting the chat room open here. I just read what's up, Dandy? He says my hat looks blue. No, it's a purple top hat. See, the LED lights are evil. That is so evil. I would never wear that much that much blue. I really don't care for blue that much. It's, sometimes it's necessary. I get that the sky is blue. Some people have blue eyes. Water is blue. That's fine. That's fine. It's not fine if I were to have a blue hat. So I sincerely apologize for that. Further proof that LED lights are pure evil. And I'm just thinking very bad things about the person who invented them right now. Maybe things YouTube would not like. I'm just thinking them very hard. So fuck that guy. But what's up to Patrick again? What's up to Dandy, like I said, and one to go to Patrick saying, good evening, Americans. Hope you're all well. USA kicking it in the World Cup. I keep seeing posts on Tumblr about folks, like folks from the UK, just Germany and all that, they're not American and they're just coming over here and flipping out because of Waffle Houses and whatnot. So that's fun to see. I've got the AC on, but I've got the cooling fan on this just to help out some. Oh, what to go to says, good to see you, Nikki. Glad I made it. Yeah, glad you made it too. Thanks for sticking with me. So this is going to end up running over till about 9-10 p.m. just to make sure it's a 2-hour show. But if you watch it after the fact, that won't matter. Like when I watch these after the fact, I can't tell what time it is. So there's that. It'll be okay. Just saying in my little pre-show, it's kind of bullshit how Big Finish Productions put on some Dark Shadows audio dramas and they do not have all of the copies of them. Like, I don't care if they're just available for download, just have them, and they just don't. How do you just not have a copy of that? Whatever, man, whatever. And wouldn't you know, it's the warmest day of the week, too. It's not terrible. It says it's 26 Celsius out there. But still, it's the warmest day of the week on the day that I'm working. Dandy says the guy from South Africa surprised seeing a squirrel in a park that wasn't eaten was an eye-opener. Yeah, I'm sure they don't have very small critters running around over there. That's sad. So I am just going to my own show. Let me get to the recap to recap the last review. Oh, what's up, Thomas Collins? Glad you made it. Says hello, everyone. Good to see you from sunny California. Oh, I hope it's just sunny and not hot. And I do apologize if my hat looks blue. I swear to God, it's not blue. It's the same purple top hat. It's just these fucking evil LED lights. I want to smash the bulbs as soon as I get some real light bulbs. Not smash like E, but like smash, like break and chuck in the bin. Yeah, Patrick, it's not you. It's his crummy light. He says he doesn't know if it's his computer is knackered, but my hat looks blue rather than purple. It's the light bulb's fault on my end. That's not your computer, so don't mess with the settings. That's just this evil fucking LED bulb. I do have super chats opened up, Venmo and buy me a coffee. That goes directly to myself. You're not paying for AI content. Your money stays in the United States. You're not giving Google 30%. I'm not spending it on hookers and blow. And I read your comment at my next show. So super chats are going to. I do need new glasses, but I need to get some incandescent bulbs. Because my hat is purple, not blue. I don't go through all of this and keep it cool just to look like I'm wearing a blue hat, but it's purple. It's like the Avatar. It's purple. Well, it's not the same hat from the Avatar, but it's purple, so it's not you. Want to go to Azure? Yeah, it is doing some kind of indigo thing. Well, I've got to tip the screen back to make it darker, so it's probably not looking the same for you guys as I'm seeing myself back right now. Thomas Collins says, your hat is magical. I know, right? It doesn't need to do the color shifting thing. Like, then it's going to be green and then yellow and orange. No, we're not doing that. I hate that they have, like, keyboards and mice and things that do that. That's bad for your eyes. Candy saying hi to Thomas. He says, hello, Mr. Collins. But to recap the last review, yeah, Liz told Carolyn that Paul didn't love either of them. He never loved anybody. Then Barnabas made Willie give a blood sample, but when he had his back turned, he switched the slides and gave the one that he found at the doctor's office the other night right back to him. And then Sam brought his pipe to the old house, set it down. Maggie picked it up because it was just familiar to her. She didn't know why, but she recognized it. And then later on, she just walked out the front door. She felt like she had to return it. So, good, as messed up as she is in the head, she's still thinking about being a good citizen and returning property, even though she did kind of steal it in the first place. She's not really running at 100% capacity right now. I gotta move something over here. Yeah, that's a bit better. Block some of this LED light. Won't be able to see after the show. Dandy saying to Patrick, knackered. Yeah, it's like tired, fucked over it. Trying to pick up my notebook here. Are you okay, cord? Still plugged in? Alright, good. Oh, wrong one. Wait, no, yeah, wrong one. It's so much fun to be in the middle of a dramatic scene taking notes, and it's like, oh, new notebook. So yeah, stuff is getting serious on the show. I mean, of course, it has always been serious with, Barnabas just kidnapping a girl, making her cosplay for her life. That's scary. And it's got to be scary for Willie too, because just think of all the little petty crimes he probably did with Jason. Pretty sure they never had time to just abduct a chick and just keep her in a room. So this is new for him too. So what's up, John Rogers? Glad you made it. So not only does he have to deal with the fact that he was vampire food for a hot minute, now he has to go along with telling Maggie, like you're Josette, this is your house, just believe it. And it's his first kidnapping. So I guess he's handling it well. So it's just a bad situation all around, except for Barnabas. He's just totally like, this is what he's been planning for over 100 years, and it's finally happening. So he's fine, but nobody's fine with the fact that the last thing we saw was Barnabas telling Willie to go get Josette. Goes up there, Maggie's gone. They see the doors open, they go running out, and then we see Sam at his house, standing there by the window. Oh, what's up, Swamp Cabbage? Glad you made it. Says, what's up, long time? Yeah, we kept your seat dry. But Sam's there, standing by the window. Burke's in the kitchen getting coffee. Sam looks out the window, and Maggie's just standing there. So Sam, yells, yelling Maggie's name. Burke comes running out like, WTF. Sam's pointing at the window. I just saw Maggie. She was just out there. So he runs outside, screaming her name, runs to where he saw her standing, but she's not there anymore. But that's the last thing we saw. He was outside hollering for his daughter. And he's the only one that saw her. Again, Burke was in the kitchen. So we pick up with episode 248. This aired This aired on June 7th, 1967. 6-7. We like that meme around here because it became a meme when I got onto 1967 and Dark Shadows. What a coincidence. Totally dig that. But we pick up right where we left off. It's still the same night. It's day 72. We're in the Evans cottage. And Sam is inside with Burke. He's saying, like, I just saw her right outside that window. Burke's like, okay, I believe you. Calm down. Like, chill, bro. Sam says, I know it was her. Why did she run away? Did I scare her when I called her name? I couldn't have imagined it. Burke says, look, if Maggie is somewhere in the neighborhood, the sheriff and his men will find her. Sam says we should be out there looking for her. I know she's somewhere out there. Dandy says, why is 6 afraid of 7? Because 7, 8, 9, LOL. So then we go from Evans Cottage to Eagle Hill Cemetery. It's always foggy out there. So you can see this tombstones, you can see a little bit of the wall, but it's basically just foggy. It's almost dreamlike. But it's real life. She's awake. And Maggie's just sort of looking around. She's not heading directly to any sort of place. She's just sort of just there, kind of like in a, well, why do I always end up here kind of a way, but I don't think she's quite with it that much until there's some howling off in the distance, and that kind of brings her to reality. I think she's realizing a little bit more where she is right now. But then we look up, and it's like the camera is right over Barnabas's shoulder. So now he's there. Maggie sees him, and he holds out his arm, and she walks up to him. And when she gets so close, he puts his hand up around her neck and grabs her. She's not going anywhere. Swamp Cabbage had just finished working, started working out a month ago. Need to find a new woman, right? Good luck with you on that. I mean, it's good to be in good shape. You'll feel better when you're working out, and then you'll attract somebody to you, and it'll work out. Thomas Collins says, "Come out to Cali, women everywhere." Are they really women though, or are they a bunch of dudes in dresses like a Monty Python sketch? Now we're back in the Evans cottage, and Sam he's smoking a cigarette, pacing back and forth. And Burke's just sitting there. He's just trying to be calm about it. But finally, Sammy has enough pace, and he heads to the door, grabs his coat, says, "I'm going out. I've got to look for her." Burke says, "You can't go out. The sheriff will be here any second." And there's a knock at the door. So Burke answers the door. Sheriff's there. He comes in. He said, "I got here as soon as I could. If she's nearby, we'll find her." Sam says, "You better." It's like, sorry. It's just she was so close, and now she's gone. Sheriff says, "All right, well, tell me exactly what happened." Sam says, "Burke and I were talking. I was standing right here." He, takes him over to the window where he paints at. I glanced up, and there was Maggie. But it's like she was in a daze. Then I called out to her. I ran outside. She was gone. The sheriff turns to Burke. It's like, "Well, did you see her?" Burke says, "No, but I believe Sam." Sheriff asks Sam, "Well, how did she look?" Sam says she was pale, paler than I've ever seen her. Almost ghostly. And she was wearing this long white gown, like something from another century. I wonder why she was dressed that way. Sheriff says, "All right, I have one more question, Sam, and you're not going to like it. Before you saw Maggie, had you been drinking?" Sam says, "What I saw didn't come out of any bottle. She was so close I could almost touch her, and you've got to believe me." So they believe him. The sheriff's gonna go look. The Burke offers to go with him, so those fellas take off. Sam stays there. Thomas Collins says, "You have a point. However, these are real gems just like you." Aw, thank you. So now we're back at Eagle Hill Cemetery, and Barnabas and Maggie are walking up to the mausoleum. Barnabas opens up that squeaky door. That door is going to squeak every single time it opens and closes. Maggie walks in, and Barnabas checks behind them. He goes in after her. So they're actually inside the tomb now. And Barnabas pulls that ring down to open up the door to the secret room. He says, "You must come with me." Maggie runs back for the door, but Barnabas gets his hands on her just that quick. He grabs her arm and twists it behind her back. So he's holding on to her like that, and then he's got he's right next to her ear talking to her, and she can't get away for nothing. He says, "You tried to leave me. I must punish you, Josette. You must stay with me always." And Maggie does sound like she's in pain. She's like, "Yes, always." Barnabas continues. He says, "You must never go. Just like long ago when you tried to leave me. You must never leave me again." Maggie says, I want to be with you. Barnabas, you should have remembered that tonight. You will remember that after tonight. So he lets her go, walks over by the door to the secret room again. It's basically behind him. He says, come. So Maggie's looking at those sarcophagi there, looks up at Barnabas and grabs her arm where he was just holding it, and she starts crying. She's like, no, no, please, and she drops down on one of those. There's three sarcophagi there. They're basically dealing with that one there in the middle that belongs to Naomi College. She's down there. She's just crying. Barnabas says, come quietly. Don't cry, Josette. Maggie looks up at him. She says, Josette? Barnabas, that is your name, Josette. The most beautiful name in the world. And you are the most beautiful creature in the world. Why did you forget all that I taught you? Why did you try to leave me? So Maggie repeats it again. She says to Josette. Barnabas, yes, you must keep saying that to yourself. You are Josette. Say it. So she's, again, she's good at repeating back the last thing she said. She says, I am Josette. Barnabas says, yes, you are Josette, and you will be the bride of Barnabas Collins. She repeats back, the bride of Barnabas Collins. Barnabas continues, and we will be happy together through eternity. Do you believe that fully and completely? Maggie, yes. So Barnabas, it doesn't seem to take much for him to believe that she really thinks she's Josette. And I really think what's starting to happen, particularly in this scene, and you really have to look out for it because it's all very subtle. It's because Maggie seems to have three stages. She's either completely under his control, agreeing that she's Josette, or since she's seen that pipe of Sam, she's just completely rebelling. Thank you for all the noise behind me. I'm sure nothing is on fire. They're going to save Josette right now. Maggie Evans, anyway. Or she's rebelling. She knows who she is. She's trying to get away. But then sometimes she's in this in-between area where she's starting to realize if she just agrees with Barnabas and says she's Josette, she can fool him and he's not going to hurt her. So she's starting to wake up to the fact that she can play his ass and hide the fact that she is remembering that she's really Maggie. Oh, Dandy says, tried to leave him. She jumped off a cliff. LOL. Yeah, if jumping off a cliff doesn't signal to you that the relationship is over, I don't know what will. I really don't. It's if there was a train to jump off in front of, she would have, but there are not any that close. So here's a guy who cannot take a hint. Like, did he find her body at the bottom of the cliff? Wait, Josette, wait, just let me explain. And she's all busted up. Swamp Cabbage says, a man should be lucky to have you as a friend, my lady. Aw, thank you. Yeah, I know how to keep a secret. If you had to hide a body somewhere, nobody's going to hear about it from me. Just, I don't know, they likes going out for walks. He's getting healthier. What's wrong with that? It's healthy to dig a hole. It's good for your back. Stop asking me questions. So that's what's going on right now. Maggie went from trying to run away. Okay, you're not going to get out that door with him here. So now she's just agreeing. Yes, I'm Josette. I'll be the bride of Barnabas Collins. And it's not that she's under his spell again. She's just trying to trick him, and he's falling for it. That's what's going on. So that's why he continues. He's saying, you look lovely in the moonlight, Josette. It makes it very difficult for me to punish you. So Maggie stands up. She sort of walks away from him a little bit. Not runs away, but just walks away from him a few steps. She's doing her Josette routine. She's happy together. Barnabas, yes, you will be. You must always believe that. You must never forget it. Maggie says, I believe. So now Barnabas says, well, perhaps there's no reason to punish you tonight. But if you ever try to escape me again. Maggie says, I want to be with you. Barnabas, we will leave this place now and return to our house. So he turns back to the door to close it. And as he's doing that, Maggie reaches into this dress has pockets on it. Imagine that. But she reaches into the pocket there and she pulls out that pipe. And this is a big old sucker too. But she's looking at it and her back's sort of basically to him, but he can see she's holding on to something. So Barnabas says, what is that? Give it to me. And he gets up to her. He grabs her hands to try to get it away from her, and she's trying to fight back. So he gets it out of her hand, chucks it on the floor. She tries to reach for it. He's grabbing her, holding her still. And she's dropping the act right now. She flips out. She's like, no, don't! Pop! Barnabas is like, no, don't touch it. Don't mention that name. That girl is gone forever. You are Josette. And she's still trying. He's got his hands on her. She's still trying to push him off, trying to get him away, but it's not working. Barnabas says, I tried to save you. I tried to appeal to you, but now I must punish you. And Maggie just passes out. She's done. You have to remember, she just walked from the old house to the Evans cottage, and then 5 miles out of town to Eagle Hill Cemetery on basically no food and no blood. So I'm surprised she was able to walk that far. So she's just done. Her energy just done run out. So Barnabas picks her up and he says, you must learn your lesson. There he goes. She's unconscious and he's talking to her. But he carries her into the secret room and the door closes. It's always so creepy when it closes because you can hear the stone sliding across stone. Ugh. But the door closes and the next thing we see is Maggie lying in a coffin. So he has two of them. He's got the one at the old house and one here. Okay. So now we know they both look the same. But all right, two coffins. But Maggie's asleep, but she wakes up. She's never been here before. She's never been in the mausoleum before. She's never been in the secret room. So she wakes up. She's confused. She says, where? Barnabas is standing there right next to her. He says, this is where you will rest until I send for you. And he's got his hands on the lids and he is slowly closing it. And Maggie is doing the most terrifying scream. There's a lot of screaming on this show, but oh my God, this is one of the scariest screams. You've never heard her scream like this before. Oh my, but she's screaming her head off. Barnabas is just closing the coffin. That's the last thing we see from her perspective is that coffin lid closing up. I used to fall asleep with the show on, and then I would suddenly wake up for the next scene, and I could never figure out why. I'm like, oh, maybe it's because Maggie was screaming, and that woke me up out of a dead sleep. Dandy said, I'd be done with blood and food in me. That's a lot of walking. Yet, how long does it take if it takes 10 minutes, 10 or 15 minutes to drive from the Evans cottage to the old house? You know, how long is that to walk? Plus a 5 mile walk out of town. And I mean, does she make a straight beeline for it? Does she wander into some neighborhoods first? Or is she just walking along the main road, just kind of stumbling along? Because she's got that dress too. You can't just let it drag on the ground, so she has to hold it up while she's walking. Yeah, we see it in this episode. I can't reach this. Hold on. So now it is morning. We see one of those shots of the sunrise. Sun's just barely starting to peek up over the clouds. But we're still in that secret room. The door's open. It's already open. And it's Willie walking down the stairs. He usually jumps down those stairs, but he's walking this time, but he's going really slowly, like he's afraid of what he's going to see. Goes over to the coffin, lifts it up. The lid's very heavy. But Maggie's, just lying there. So Willie says, Josette, it's Willie. Can you hear me? I've come for you. Maggie says, Willie? Willie says, do you recognize me? Do you know who I am? Her voice is really straining when she says this. Maybe she hasn't had a lot of oxygen all night. She says, Willie. He says, that's right. Well, I've come to get you. There's nothing to be afraid of now, so you just do what I say. Just do what I tell you to do. Do you understand? Maggie nods once, so he sits her up. He helps her, like she's already got her hands up like this, and he helps set her up. And you can kind of notice it in the last scene, but you have to be looking for it. Now you can really tell. Before, remember I mentioned that ring that she had on her finger? It looked like a teeny tiny little koosh ball that's about, I don't know, maybe the size of a dime. Well, it doesn't move around. It's just shaped like that. She's got a different ring on that finger now. It is this, it's a rectangle. This thing is a fucking rock. It looks heavy as hell. She was not wearing that. I went back and looked. She was not wearing that in the last scene when she was at the old house. Where did that ring come from? She wasn't just stumbling around with that pipe and found it and put it on and replaced her other ring. Maybe they thought we wouldn't notice, but this is the first time she's wearing it. I guess we're supposed to assume Barnabas gave it to her when she was still at the old house sometime, but she was not wearing it there. She had the other ring on the last time we saw her at the old house. Now suddenly she's been wandering through town again, and she's got this fat rock on her finger. It's some kind of dark stone. I don't know if we ever get to see it in color. Thomas Collins, Maggie in distress is agonizing. It really is. It really is. She does not. She's the nicest girl in town, and she's got all this shit going on just because of how she looks. She just happens to look enough like Josette that it's really hard. It's really hard to see Sam go through this too, not knowing where his daughter is. So she's got to be just, I mean, how much oxygen gets into a coffin? Technically, it's a casket, but they call it a coffin. So she's got to be lightheaded, all out of it. But Willie sets her up. They get into the tomb. He sort of just guides her to the middle of the room, like, oh, just wait here. He turns around to close the door, and Maggie sort of looks around a bit, realizes where she is. She starts crying. Willie says, I told you not to be afraid. Barnabas is gone now. Maggie says, gone? Willie, for a while. And I won't hurt you. You know that, don't you? Maggie nods. So Willie says, you do what I say, and just come with me, huh? So he walks with her to the door. Gets her the hell out of there. I wonder how long she was in there. I mean, I know it was all night, but that's still a long time. And then think about how he has to get her home. He's got to put her in the car. What? Have her lie down in the back seat. You can't just drive around with some missing girl sitting in the passenger seat. He's not going to put her in the trunk. He's not a psycho. So it's like, you just lie down, Josette. Don't sit up no matter what you hear. Where is my Carmex? Oh, I gotta stand up. Sorry. Uh, why did I move that? Did the screen move? It's okay. Sorry to be wearing these pants. They make my legs look good, but I can't show you. Just take my word for it. I'm not one to give myself compliments, so if I say they look good on me, they look good. So now we are in Josette's room. Willie is walking Maggie over to the bed, and he's telling her, that's all right. You lie down and rest. Try to sleep if you can. So Maggie lies down. She says, rest, dream, sleep. Then she sits back up. She says, I had a dream. A terrible dream. Willie says, don't think about it. Maggie, he was standing over me, and I was in a coffin. I was in a coffin. So she starts crying. She's freaking out. Willie says, try to forget. Maggie says, it wasn't a dream. I was in a coffin. She falls back down on the bed. She's just, you know, when you have a bad dream and you don't think it's real and it all comes back to you, it just happens just that fast. So she's lying down. She's crying. She's that upset. So Willie says, listen to me. I'm trying to help you. Don't you understand? Maggie says, what is it? Willie says, I'm trying to help you. Listen to what I have to say. Running away was a mistake, a bad mistake. Maggie says, I had to get away from him. Willie says, you can never get away from him. He'll never let you. If you try to get away, he'll punish you again. You don't want that, do you? He'll make it worse. Maggie, no. Willie, okay. Then do what he wants you to do. Be what he wants you to be. You're Josette Collins. Now Maggie looks at him. She says, no. Willie says, you have to believe that's who you are. It's the only way you'll be safe. Maggie says, I'm not Josette Collins. Willie, never let Barnabas hear you say that. You don't know how cruel he can be. Maggie, I know. Willie, don't take any more chances. Try to believe you're Josette. Just try. Maggie says, I can't. Willie says, you can. Then he gets an idea. He turns around and he goes to that little table there that's in the middle of the room, this little round table, picks up the music box. So he opens it up. He gets it right near her. So we got this pretty music playing now. He says, listen to the music. It's her music. You listen to it and you say to yourself over and over, I'm Josette Collins, and I'm going to be the bride of Barnabas Collins. So Maggie says, Josette Collins, bride. It's Willie, that's right. Whenever you get scared, you listen to this music. You keep listening. So he sets it down on the nightstand so it's still playing, and he backs away from her. Look, just keep repeating back what he says to you. Again, for a guy who's never kidnapped somebody and tried to brainwash him, he's doing his best. Now we're back at the Evans cottage. You already know they've been up all night. There's Sam and there's Burke. And they're just sitting there waiting. So the sheriff arrives. He says, bad news. If she was in the area, we would have found her. I'm gonna have to call off the men. They're dead tired. Sam says, well, did you look up at Eagle Hill Cemetery? Sheriff says, yeah. We thought we saw something, but it turned out to be this big, ugly doggo. Sam says, every time something happens around here, there's a dog around. That's the damn truth, though. There's no leash laws up in there. Looks at the sheriff. He says, you don't think I saw her, do you? Sheriff says, well, would it be so strange if you imagined her? Sam looks at Burke. You think I imagined her, too? Burke says, I'd like to believe you saw her, but... Sam, but you don't. So he sits down on the couch. It's like, maybe I never saw her. Maybe I imagined her. I mean, yes, they have every reason to believe him, but they also have every reason to think he imagined her. So maybe if she hadn't wandered out of town, they would have found her, but it's just... They didn't find her. They're done looking. So we're back in Josette's room, and it's oh, he's not there, but what's up, B-Champ? Glad you made it. Maggie's laying down, so I guess she did get a little bit of sleep, but then she wakes up like she just had a bad dream, and she's looking around all scared. She looks over on that little nightstand. There's the music box. So she opens it up and starts playing it. Because Willie told her to play it whenever she got scared, and she was scared. She starts playing it. We got this nice little tune going on. So Maggie gets up and looks around. She says, I am Josette. She repeats that a few times, walks over to the mirror, sits down in front of it. Little bottle of perfume there, picks it up, smells it, sets it back down. I don't have my brush nearby, but there's a hairbrush. She starts brushing her hair a little bit. Looks up in the mirror and sees a reflection. Then she shuts the lid of the music box. She says, no, I'm Maggie Evans. She starts freaking out. She runs to the door, tries the handle, tries to open it up. It's locked. Somebody's locking her in there now. But the door's locked. She yells for her father, she yells for Pop, she yells for Joe. She's like, somebody! Looking out the window for anybody to be there. And there's nothing she can do. She can holler as loud as she wants, as long as she wants. She's on private property, far away from the rest of the city, basically on the water. Nobody's going to hear her. She's locked in that room. There's nothing she can do. So she just sits back down in the mirror, just puts her head down and cries. And then we see Josette's room for the credits. Now, I had some questions when I was watching this, and I put it at the end here. I don't understand why I never put this together before, and they never bring this up. But how is Josette Collins's last name Collins when she and Barnabas are not married yet? Shouldn't he be using her maiden name? Is that an oversight by the writers as an excuse to say the last name Collins more often? Or was that her real legal name? Are they going to explain that? They will. But we don't know that right now. We don't know that. Why would you? And how weird would it be to be engaged to somebody who just happens to have the same last name as you? Okay, you're not related at all, but your maiden name is then going to be your married name. On the surface, that's creepy. And then, who is Barnabas gonna eat when Josette becomes a vampire? Vampires don't use each other for food. They use an alive person. They both can't use Willie for food. He'd be too tired to get any work done. So, like, has he thought that far ahead yet? Like, oh, okay, first I'll make her my bride, and then we'll work out the food situation. Like, you think he has it all planned out, but then I'm like, wait, does this mean when Josette becomes a vampire, does Willie go back to being food for one of them? Is Barnabas gonna let Josette use Willie for food? Are they gonna have to get two new people? They don't get that deep into it, but I'm like, wait, they got to eat sometime. Where are we gonna get our high C juice boxes from? And poor Willie, he's a smart guy. Like he was a criminal all those years, so he's got his street smarts. But it's like he's too scared to think clearly. He's just doing exactly what Barnabas says. He's never really rebelled against Barnabas the way Maggie's starting to. Maybe they open a nonprofit blood bank. Yeah, come visit Collinwood. No fee, but just donate a little bit of blood and also come back every day. Don't worry about it. I'm like, wait, how are they going to get food? Because no, they don't need like bacon and eggs for breakfast, but they're going to need people. And, how much does a vampire need to drink every day? And then there's two of them. Again, you can't use Willie. How's he going to fix anything and run to Bangor to pick up fabrics? And I guess they assume that'll just fall into place afterwards. Maybe Barnabas just, one thing at a time. They're never going to explain that, but the last name thing put a pin in that. Because they did give Josette a maiden name way earlier on. Yes, it was in the beginning, but okay. So episode 249 aired on June 8th, 1967. And it's still the same day. It's still day 73, but it's nighttime now, and we are in the living room at Collinwood. And it's Carolyn and Roger and Victoria are sitting in there. Well, Carolyn's up pacing. She's looking out the window, then she's pacing around a bit. She says, I don't care what anyone says. I'm getting into that room. Roger says, well, but how? Victoria tells her, like, don't do anything you'll regret. Carolyn says, I'm getting in there tonight. If I can't steal the key, then I'll break it. Roger, do you want my help? Carolyn says, we'll break in after Mother goes to sleep. And then we see outside the door, there's Jason eavesdropping. Roger's funny because a few episodes ago, he was worried about Liz and, what can I do to help? I know there's a secret. And Liz is saying, just stand by me. So we're thinking that he's on her side. And then at the same time, he wants to break into that room, which probably goes against Liz's wishes. And I think he's more worried about himself and what Liz is going through, thinking about how that's going to affect him more than, oh, my sister's going through something scary that she can't tell me about. Because he really is quite selfish at the end of the day. Oh, Beat Chap says, made me think of the Halloween episodes of the Simpsons cartoon. Treehouse of Horror? Oh my god, yes. So now we are in Roger's study, and Liz is wearing... It's the dark dress that has long sleeves, and then it's got this fabric around the neck. It goes all the way around the back, and then there's buttons on the back of the shoulders, like it's two strips of fabric that button back there. You just have to not think about it because it doesn't make sense. It zips up the back, but why are those? It's just a feature. There's no reason for it, but why are those buttons there? And she's wearing her pearls and that brooch where it's just a bunch of teeny tiny pearls in a cluster. She's got that on, and she's sitting there. She's doing paperwork, writing a letter, or something like that, minding her own business. And Jason walks in. He's like, "Oh, Liz, we need to have a chat real quick." Liz, I'm busy, and haven't we had enough little chats lately? Jason tells her, low key, we've got an emergency. Carolyn is determined to get into that room in the basement. Liz says, well, I'll put a stop to that. So she stands up, she starts heading out the door. Jason stops her. He's like, wait, let's think about it. Everyone knows that room is sus. If Carolyn gets in there, she won't find anything. And then she'll tell the others, and they'll calm down about it. Besides, there's nothing to see, unless you know where to look. I think you should give Carolyn the key. Liz says, I can't do that. Jason says, you can, after I've been down there to check the room. Liz just, I don't like it. Jason says, I'm doing this for you. Roger and Carolyn are going to get in there one way or another. Let's beat them to it. This is the only way. So give me the key. So she's got it on that chain around her neck. She takes it off and puts it in his hand. So Jason's got it now. Thomas Collins says Barnabas is already married to Josette. He's trying to bind her spirit to Maggie. His ass is in a ringer. There is infinite blood in the universe. It could be. It's either an oversight, the writer's end, or it was, her legal name at the time of her death. Did she marry somebody else named Collins, and then Barnabas is going to marry her now? They have it said. Danny says to Thomas, yeah, it makes sense that she has the wedding dress. Barnabas, why is my last name Collins? We're not married yet. Listen to the music box. I gotta go. So now we're over in the foyer. Carolyn's walking upstairs, but Jason comes from the kitchen door and stops her. And he's like, oh, Carolyn. And she's like halfway up the steps and she was almost going to keep going up. And Jason says, "You're not trying to snub me, are you? I'm working very hard to be your friend." Carolyn, save your energy. It won't help. You're my mother's enemy, and you're the same to me. Jason says, I'm more concerned about Liz's well being than anyone. I'm asking you to be more considerate of her. Carolyn, your hypocrisy is overwhelming. Jason, oh, hypocrisy. I'm going to prove my sincerity to you. And I'm going to see you learn the truth about that locked room. Then we'll see how easily you swallow the word hypocrisy. Carolyn looks like she doubts that. Sure you are. Thomas says, and the jewelry, Maggie is Josette's host. Yeah, that's another thing. Does Barnabas think that Josette's spirit is in Maggie? Does he think it's some kind of reincarnation situation? Or is it just as simple as she looks enough like Josette that he's imprinting Josette's personality onto Maggie? To be fair, honestly, he has not seen the actual alive Josette in over 100 years, so maybe he's misremembering how she really looks, and Maggie just looks enough like the version of Josette in his head now that he's like, oh, well, close enough. Put this on. Here's the music box. Don't come down unless you're told. So now we're in the basement of Collinwood, and Jason's got a flashlight. He's heading towards the door, unlocks it. New location, the locked room in the basement of Collinwood. We've never been in here before. We've seen Liz go in and come back out, but we've never seen in there. But now we're in there. It's got wooden walls. It's got different shaped stones on the floor. Like you'll have a big solid square one, and then maybe some tinier ones next to it. It's not like an evenly. I don't know if there's a name for that kind of pattern, but just like the all flat stones, very flat stones with the mortar in between. I don't know. I'm clearly a construction worker, but it's that kind of floor. There are the barrels and trunks, cobwebs, random furniture, and there's a light on the ceiling. You know, the light where it's like a metal a circle, so and it's shaped like that, so it makes the light go down like that. Very descriptive. It's one of those. He just pulls the string on that, and he's looking down at specifically at the floor. He doesn't seem to care about the furniture and the trunks, but he's just looking down there and runs his hand over the floor. Opens up one trunk, looks inside. There's just some clothes, so that's good enough for him. So he leaves. Turns off the light. He doesn't just leave it on. So now we're in Roger's study. Liz is there. She's up. I think she's too nervous to sit down, but Jason comes back. Tells her, you can relax now. Everything's in order. Liz says, I can't go through with it. Jason says, of course you can. Gives the key back and just puts it in her hand. I don't know if I have any jewelry to use as a prop. I don't think so. So Liz says, you want me to give Carolyn the key now? Jason says, no, I thought of something better. You take them down to the basement. So now we're back in the living room. And Carolyn's saying, I wish I knew who to believe. My mother tells me that my father didn't love or care for me. And then Jason tells me the opposite. Roger, Jason is a congenital liar. Carolyn's like, I know, but why would he lie to me? Roger, out of habit. Carolyn says, which one should I believe? Roger says, I don't know. I was away at school when Paul was here, but obviously he lacked certain qualities. Carolyn says, well, he must have had some good qualities. Mother married him. Roger, your mother isn't the best judge of men. Roger's so funny in this scene. Victoria says, maybe she spoke that way about your father to justify the divorce. And these giant fuck off earrings. Oh my god, Victoria has like these are almost bigger than the pearls that Liz wears. They're giant, they're circles with it's some kind of dark stone or dark enamel. Is surrounded by diamonds. Holy shit, girl. What are they paying you? Like that would I'd be hunched down as big as these things are. I'm like, what has she got on her ears? What the fuck? They're huge. Thomas Collins says, I can't fathom bringing one of my brilliant female baristas home and trying to make her be a past wife. Yeah, here's this really cute girl who works at the diner. I'm just going to keep her away from everything she knows and give her some nice clothing and keep her super weak for blood loss and call her by a different name and everything will be fine. Maybe things were more, maybe people did that all the time back in Barnabas's day, but in 1967, not so much. At least not in this part of the world. Thomas Collins and that Liz updo. Oh my god, I cannot get over Liz's hair. I love her hair so much. If I had that much hair, I would want it done up like that with the bow across and the this and just oh my god. I love her hair. And then she's got like dark brown-ish hair, it looks like me, so Daddy Eddie only gave her one dress, lol. Yeah, what did she do on laundry day? He can't give her old clothes back. She might remember, like, why would I wear this? I'm Josette Collins. No, because he took her, she was wearing some kind of, she was in the hospital, so she had some kind of nightgown on. But still, you're getting one dress, a music box, your own room, no food, and the only other person you have to talk to is Willie Loomis, who's nervous all of the time, and everybody's calling you by a different name. I keep thinking I'm someone else. Get back up to your room and stay there. Thomas Collins' dirty laundry. Like, does she just have to wear like jammies, like just wearing a shift? Or she just has to wear a nightgown all day while Willie's cleaning her one dress. I guess that's why they're not feeding her. She can't spill anything on it, so like less to worry about. She had like what one sip of wine since she's been there. Pretty sure you're not supposed to drink when you don't have any blood in your system. So great. Now she's drunk on top of all of this. She's gonna start knocking stuff over. Start drunk dialing people. Gets a phone. Who am I? Imagine you get a phone call, they don't say hello or is this such and such. They just say, "Who am I?" Just, "You're Josette Collins." Weird. Anyway, so once we get over looking at Victoria's giant fuck off earrings, and nobody points out, I guess that's just what she's buying on her days off. Holy shit. But anyway, and maybe, Victoria just said maybe Liz said that about Paul to justify starting those divorce proceedings. Carolyn says, "Oh, maybe." I wish she wouldn't go through with it. It would be terrible for her to have been deserted in her first marriage and blackmailed into a second. I can't let that happen. I've got to find out what he has over her. Just then Liz walks in with Jason right behind her. Liz says, "I'm glad you're all here. I think everything should be brought out into the open. You've all been upset over nothing, and I want to put an end to it. You really think because of that room in the basement, Jason has some kind of hold on me?" Carolyn says, "I think so." Liz, she's got the key around her neck. She holds it up. She says, "This is the key. Are you prepared for what you might find?" Carolyn, "Yes." Liz, "Then I'll open it." So Liz, Roger, and Victoria leave the room, and Jason hangs back. He says, "Carolyn, I am proving my friendship." Carolyn, "Are you?" "We'll see." So now we're back down in the basement, except now everybody's there, and they're standing in front of the door. It's hard to unlock. You can just hear this key clicking for chunk in the lock, like it hasn't been opened in a while. Even Roger says something. "Oh, you can tell it hasn't been opened in a long time." So Liz opens it up, opens the door. She says, "There." Carolyn says, "You don't have to go in." Jason, "No, she'll take you in, and she'll show you everything." So Liz goes in first. She walks into the room, kind of glances down at the floor, crosses the room, turns the light on, and she's all the way inside watching everybody else file in. She says, "Well, you're in here. You have my permission to poke in anything you see." Roger says, "I know this must be terribly personal for you, Liz." Liz, "This is what you wanted, and you're having it." So Victoria just kind of stands there, which, I mean, it makes sense. She's not family. What business does she have to be poking around and stuff? But Roger takes down some big old suitcase to look in, sets it down, opens it up, and Carolyn opens up a trunk or two. It's just full of old clothes, like dress, shirts, button down shirts. Liz says, "Do you think you're going to find what you're looking for?" Carolyn, "I don't know." It is that, like, we can see, everybody in the room, but the camera is aimed down at the floor, and, folks kind of crossing the room looking at stuff, but we're just looking at the floor the whole time. Jason says, "This is pitiful, subjecting Liz to something she doesn't deserve." Liz is like, "No, Jason." Carolyn's like, "No, he's right this time. What we're doing is very, very wrong." And she apologizes to her mother. She gives her a hug. She was all gung-ho until she got in there. Now it sounds like she's gonna cry. Like she's seeing her dad's old stuff too for the first time, so I'm sure all the feelings are hitting her. Roger apologizes too, so to his credit. Victoria says, "Let's go upstairs." So they start heading out, but Jason says to Carolyn, like, I think your mother wants to be alone in here for a minute before we close this room forever. So Victoria, Roger, Carolyn, they're out of the room now, and Jason walks up to Liz. He says, well, we pulled it off. I doubt you'll hear another word about this room again. They're all upstairs. I think now's the proper time to announce our marriage. Liz says, Jason. Jason says, you can't back out now. I think you know what your obligation is to me. Liz says, yes, I know. So they leave the room. And now we are up in the living room, and Roger's taking a drink. He says, that was one of the most embarrassing moments of my life. Carolyn's sitting there. She's upset. She sounds like she's about to start crying. She says, I put her through something she didn't deserve. To see those old clothes of my father's. Carolyn says, or not Carolyn, but Victoria says, Carolyn, that's the past. It's over. If anybody knows about not dwelling on the past, it's Victoria. So like, take her advice, girl. But just then, Liz and Jason walk in, and Jason says, so, Liz has something to say. Tell them. Liz says, I've decided I must remake my life in the best way possible for everyone's happiness. So I want to say, I want you to know. Jason says, well, go on. Tell them what you're planning. Liz, Jason and I are planning to be married. We get a reaction shot of the other three. Carolyn looks like she's just about to start bawling, like tears and everything. She just, or she's gonna be sick, but this is some of the worst news she's ever heard. And for the credits, we're in the locked room. We can see the floor. Just drive that point home. I wonder what's up with that floor. It's a nice floor, but why do we keep staring at it? Hey, you know this guy we all hate? Guess who's never moving out? So Carolyn's having a bad night. So episode 250. This aired on June 9th, 1967. It's still the same night. It's still day 73, but we are up in Josette's room. Maggie is looking in the mirror. So she sees herself. She recognizes herself that she is Maggie Evans. So that's a good sign. But we get a voiceover. And it's her thinking, Maggie Evans. That's your name. That's my name. I must remember that. Maggie for Margaret. Maggie Evans. Remember, I am Maggie Evans. You have a father. Why can't I remember his name? It's Sam Evans. Never forget it. Say it again and again. Maggie Evans. And as she's thinking so hard, she knocks the music box over, so the lid comes open and it starts playing. Now we get a really good shot of that fucking rock on her finger. Oh my god, it is so, again, it's a dark stone, it's a rectangle. This sucker, it looks like you'd have to lift up your hand with your other hand to lift your arm up. This sucker is huge. That's the ring she's got on her finger now. I guess it's the engagement ring. Do you give somebody a giant fuck off stone for an engagement ring? I don't know. I'm not sure of the tradition about that. But now she's speaking aloud. She says, "My name. I must remember." And then we're back in the voiceover. It says, "Josette. Is that my name? Josette Collins? Yes. No, that's not my name. It's..." So she slams the music box shut. And she says out loud, "And Maggie Evans, remember that, no matter what." When someone knocks on the door, and we can hear Willie through the door, he says, "Josette?" Maggie says, "My name is..." And she remembers she remembers she has to act, so she calms down. She sits down, and now she's a lot calmer. She says, "Yes, come in." So Willie comes in, and he's still wearing that lighter colored turtleneck, but he's got the apron on now. So Willie tells her that Mr. Collins wants to see you. Maggie, "Thank you. Tell him Josette will be down immediately. I want to brush my hair." Willie nods, leaves her alone. So Maggie's sitting in front of the mirror again. She says, "Remember now, no matter what, Maggie Evans." It's like she's training herself to think when she sees herself to call herself Maggie Evans instead of Josette. She's reprogramming her brain. Thomas Collins says, "This is just silly sometimes. Marriages? Getting blackmailed into a marriage? What? By this cheap jerk who's always asking for money. Some shady ass Irish con man. Nothing wrong with being Irish, but the rest of it, ugh." So now we're downstairs in the drawing room, and Barnabas asks, "How did she seem?" Willie, "Just calm, quiet." Barnabas, "And she answered right away to the name Josette." Willie, "She even referred to herself as Josette." Barnabas, "Very promising. Perhaps the time I've been waiting for has come. At last." So Maggie comes down the stairs. I thought Willie was going to have to go get her, but Maggie comes down the stairs on her own. She raises her hand up. She's like, "Barnabas." Barnabas is so happy to see her. He's like, "Oh, Josette." Takes her by the hand. Maggie says, "I've been enjoying the music box you gave me. The music seems to erase all unhappy memories." Barnabas, "I'm very pleased to hear it." Turns back to Willie. He says, "I believe you have some special work to do. I want it completed as quickly as possible. I'm almost sure the time has come." Willie, "It'll be done." So he goes to that door that leads to the rest of the house and the kitchen and all that. Well, what are those slats called on doors like that? It's like they're up in Josette's room. They're in that room there. It's um what it looks like when you take blinds and twist them, so they're going downwards. Is there a name for that? I don't know what those are called, but it's that kind of door. Dandy says, "Remember, no matter what, Dandy 002 is your handle. Don't forget it. And you have a father named Sam." Well, you do now. You're not Josette 002. You're Thomas Collins says, "I thought her veil was going to catch on a candle there. It's so light and flowy and wispy. I'm glad all the candles are up on sconces and just away. Because you're not going to get out of that dress in time. It's just going to go up in flames. So Barnabas brings Maggie into the room, has her sit down. He says, I'm delighted that you enjoy the music box so thoroughly because I have another gift for you. Now, Maggie's sitting with her back to the camera, and Barnabas has on that little table there, he picks up this like rectangle jewelry box, bigger than a phone. He says it was given by one of my ancestors to his bride in celebration of their marriage. So he opens up this flat, it's like a jewelry box for a necklace. You've got to see this thing. It takes your breath away. I see this thing, I stop breathing for a few seconds. This thing is iced the fuck out. It just sparkles everywhere. We see it better later on, but what it is, it's about like that, goes like that. And like every single surface is sparkly. So it seems like it's diamonds up along here, and then it has stones that are teardrop shaped in some kind of dark color. But what it does, it's like there's one attached, like way up high, and then next to it there's a string of diamonds with another teardrop shape, and then next to that there's one up high, and then next to that it's one drop, on a string of diamonds. So it's just that pattern repeated all the way across. Oh my, how much would something like that be worth? It, oh my god, it is so pretty. Like, even if you don't want to, like, I don't have anything anywhere to wear something like that. It is gorgeous. When he shows it to Maggie, he says, it continues, says, but from the day it was made, it was meant for only one. You, Josette. Maggie says, but Barnabas, yes. What were you going to say? Maggie, only that I'm unworthy of such a lovely gift. Barnabas, as my bride, you are unworthy of nothing. Maggie, bride? Barnabas, yes, the time has almost come. We will be joined for all eternity. Maggie, for all eternity. Barnabas, you look frightened. Why are you afraid? Maggie, I can't help trembling a little. I've waited so long. When will all this happen? Today? Barnabas, perhaps, but Willie must first complete the arrangements. Maggie, arrangements? Barnabas, and then the two of us, you and I, Josette, for all eternity. So he tries to, he wants to put the necklace on her, but Maggie stops him. Barnabas says, why not? It's yours. Maggie, only after I'm your bride. You mustn't see me wear it before then. Barnabas, very well, then take it with you. Soon the sun will rise, but soon the sun will set again, and I will send for you, and you will come wearing this. So he closes the box, he hands it to her. Now leave me for the last time. Maggie, the last time. Barnabas, after this, we will never be apart. Maggie, yes, never. Turns around, she starts walking away. Barnabas says, is Maggie? Maggie stops and turns around back to him. She says, what did you say? Barnabas, I was calling Maggie. Maggie's, that sounds like a servant's name, but I don't remember one named Maggie. Barnabas, forgive me, I forgot. She was here for a while, but now she's gone forever. Maggie. Who was she? Barnabas. No one of any importance. Her name will never be mentioned again. Maggie turns around and heads upstairs. Bruh, that is harsh. Barnabas looks so pleased with himself. He's so happy. He walks over by the mantle. But then we get a new location. I've mentioned this before. We've never seen it before. We're at the top of the stairs. And it like there's the banister there, the railing, wall sconce on the wall with some candles on it. But Maggie's looking down as if she had just come up the stairs, and she's looking back down at them like, oh my god, I can't believe he just fucking said that. What's going on? But that's what makes me think you go up the stairs and make a hard left to get to the rest of the whatever's on the second floor. She's looking down there, just WTF, bro. So we're up in Josette's room, and Maggie is holding that. She holds the necklace up around her neck. She's not trying to put it on. She's just holding it up, looking at it in the mirror. We can see it a little bit better now. She says, "It can't happen. It can't." And she just kind of tosses it down back in the box. Like she doesn't like chuck it, like throw it. She just drops it back there. She doesn't want anything to do with it. Doesn't matter how pretty it is. But we can hear some hammering off in the distance, like somebody's hitting some wood with a hammer. Gotta keep that thing out. But it's not constant. It's like we hear a few bangs with the hammer, and then it stops for a few seconds, and then we hear it again, and then it stops for a few seconds. This just goes on. But now Maggie is remembering what Barnabas said about Willie completing some special work, and yeah, Barnabas is almost sure it's time. This is a voiceover. We usually it's a Willie had a voiceover of himself. Maggie had a voiceover herself. Now we get a voiceover of Maggie remembering what Barnabas said, and it's Barnabas's voice. But, it's Willie has to complete some special work, and almost sure it's time. So Maggie's remembering that. She's getting scared. But she leaves the room. Now Barnabas trusts her enough to not lock her in the room. But she leaves. She heads downstairs. She's in the drawing room. Nobody else is in there but her. She's looking around. We still hear that hammering sound. So she heads over to that door across the way that leads to the rest of the house. So now we're in the basement, and Willie's there working. Yeah, he's got his head down with the. There, we can't really see what it is. It kind of looks like the top of a wooden table, and she's just beating this hammer on the edge of it, tapping it. Really, he's not being violent with it. But Barnabas is saying it's excellent work. I'm sure you're very proud of yourself. Well, aren't you? Willie says, yeah, I guess so. We see Maggie. She's sneaking around in the basement. There's that cell door that we saw the very first time we were down there. She's sort of sneaking on by there. And we're back with the other two. Barnabas says, now you know what you must do before the sun sets, don't you? Suppose you repeat it to me. Willie says, I bring her the gown she's supposed to wear, and then I bring her to you here. We see Maggie again. She's sneaking by this brick wall, and she gets to the edge of it as if the fellows are just around the wall. So she gets to the edge and she stops. She's got her back against the wall. So now she's eavesdropping. Barnabas is continuing. It's like this will be soon. Willie says, "Yeah, but suppose she won't do what she's told to do." Barnabas, "She will. She believes again she's Josette." Now Willie, he sets his hammer down on there's a table behind him with the tools, and he picks up some sandpaper. He's like, "Yeah, but what if?" And then he just starts sanding that top there. Barnabas says, "Well, what if she were only pretending?" "I haven't given up that idea. I have great powers over her now, just as I have over you. But they're not absolute. Otherwise, she would have never tried to leave me." Willie says, "But you've always had power over her and me." Barnabas, "As long as I'm alive, neither of you will ever be completely free of me. After tonight, I will have no power over her, because none will be necessary. She won't even want to be that other creature she prefers to be. After tonight, there's no chance of her remembering who she was. She will be Josette forever, and Josette will be mine forever." Is that how it works? You just tell somebody that there's somebody else, and when they become a vampire, they're just that person permanently? How does he know? Has he done this before? Or is he just like, why wouldn't it work like that? And Barnabas is hanging over Willie, watching him work the way your cat will sit and watch you. Like Willie does not need to be supervised. Clearly, he knows how to fix things up by himself. I don't need a cat sitting right next to me, meowing the whole time while I'm making something wooden. But Barnabas is just hanging over him this whole time. He says, "Are you almost finished?" Willie says, "It's almost done." So there's Maggie against that wall there. She peeks around the corner, and but then she comes right back because there's that table that Willie keeps setting his tools on. It's right there. So she's got to hide while he's grabbing a rag, and he starts wiping off that surface, whatever he's working on. Barnabas says, "Are you able to find it beautiful?" Willie, "No." Barnabas, "Well, I could, give you the ability to see its beauty." Willie, "No thanks." Barnabas says, "Now stand aside and let me take a good look at it." The camera pulls back. It's a fucking coffin. It's right there next to Barnabas's coffin. It doesn't have a like an intricately carved top the way his does. It's super smooth, but it's a coffin. So they're both looking at it. So Maggie can come out from behind that wall and she's seeing it too. Barnabas says, "Magnificent. When my bride sees it, she will find it quite beautiful. She'll recognize it as an object of great longing." It low key made me think of that episode when Hank Hill built a coffin for himself and Peggy, but Peggy's like the lid didn't even close. Willie did a better job, but it made me think of that. So now it's the next day, it's morning. We get an establishing shot of the old house during the day. Willie's still down there finishing it up. There's that rag and the hammer sitting on top, so he takes those off. He sets them on that table there behind him. But then he looks over, reaches behind that wall, pulls out Maggie. He says, "What are you doing here? You're supposed to be up in your room, Josette." So Maggie's got that jewelry, that box, that case. She's holding it behind her back, and then the way she has to hold up her dress, it's like she can sort of, if she's in front of him, she can hold that box in front of her and then cover it with the dress, so she can. She's always hiding it from him, and he doesn't call her on it like "What's in your hand" or nothing like that. But Maggie says, "I got restless. I wanted to walk the grounds." And she's standing in between the two coffins. Willie says, "You can't do that until after tonight." And he says, "I suppose you tell me exactly who you are." Maggie says, "Are you being insolent?" Willie, "I don't know, am I?" Maggie. Maggie says, "How dare you call me such a common name?" Willie says, "I'm sorry, I meant Josette." Maggie, "I think Madam Collins would be more appropriate." Willie, "Fine with me, madam." He's watching her really closely, as nervous as this dude is. Don't forget this man was a con man, so he can read people and body language and all that. And you can tell his right eye is a little bit darker than his left eye in the shot. But as he's watching her, Maggie's saying, "That's better. Now I would like to walk the grounds." Willie's, "All right, I'll take you. But first, tell me, how do you like my work? What do you think of it?" Indicating that coffin right there. Maggie says, "It's beautiful." Willie says, "You don't find it scary?" Maggie, "No, why should I?" Willie, "Because it's not supposed to seem beautiful until after Barnabas has made you his bride, Maggie." Maggie says, "Don't call me that name. My name was Josette." Willie says, "What do you think? I'm stupid? You want to get away? Then what's going to happen to me? You think you fool me, but you can't." Maggie says, "I'm Josette. I swear it. All I want to do is—" Willie, to escape. Maggie says, "Yes, Willie, please help me." So Willie's like, "Come on, I'm taking you back to your room, and this time I'm locking the door." Maggie says, "No, Willie, I've got something I want to show you." Willie, "I don't want to see it." So she's holding that jewelry box in front of herself, or jewelry case, necklace case, whatever it's called. And we know how Willie feels about jewels. Maggie doesn't know that, but we know he knows everything about it. So I'm sure he already knows, has an idea about what he's going to see. So he's looking at it. Maggie says, "Look." She opens it up. And every time we see this, it just sparkling with the diamonds and all that stuff. So she holds it open for him to see. And Willie's eyes are just stuck on these jewels, staring down at them. She says, "Look, Willie." And notice the music playing right now. "Jewels, more beautiful than you ever imagined." Willie's like, she's still holding the box open, but Willie's got his hands on it to keep it steady. Peggy says, "It's a fortune, more than you ever dreamed. You can tell just by looking at it. Go ahead, Willie, touch it." So Willie takes one of his hand. He's holding on to it with one hand, but then he takes his other hand away. He's like, "No." Maggie says, "See how they sparkle?" Willie says, "Please, you got to go upstairs." Maggie says, "They're yours, Willie, after I'm gone." Willie, he can't go. He'd kill me. Maggie says, "No, he wouldn't, because you'd be gone too." Willie says, "I can't go. He won't let me." Maggie says, "We can both go. Once he's killed, really killed." Now Willie looks at her. He's been staring at this necklace the whole time, but he actually looks up at her now. He says, I can't do it. Maggie says, I can. Then we'll both be free. Willie says, I can't let you. Maggie says, take the necklace, Willie. Hold it. Touch it. So Willie puts his, instead of just holding the box, he's actually got his fingers on it now. Maggie lets the box go since Willie's got a grip on it. She says, wait for me upstairs. Willie takes that box. He's turning away. He starts to take a few steps towards the stairs. But then we hear a heartbeat. So he stops. He turns back. Maggie says, don't stop. Don't listen. Take the necklace. Go upstairs. You won't hear it much longer. She goes over to that table where the tools are and she picks up a pick. It's not exactly an ice pick, but it looks like a pick. It's long. It's not wooden. It doesn't look wooden. She grabs that. Willie says, I can't let you do it. So Maggie starts backing away from him, like she backs around the coffin, and Willie's right there. She says, Willie, please, we'll be free. Willie says, no, I have to protect him. I have to. So he finally gets close to her. He grabs her wrist. He gets her to drop that pick on the ground. We hear it hit the ground. It's metal. But she screams, and he's between her and the coffin. She's not going to get around him, so she's crying. Willie's upset too. I can't help it. I think it's interesting how Maggie has more of a will to leave, to get out of Barnabas's control than Willie does. Like we never saw Willie try to kill Barnabas before. But now it's later on, it's sunset. They do that thing again where I told you they did that really bad superimposed. It's like the fake um windowsill. That's not right. Remember when Willie was pointing outside, like it'll be getting dark soon. It's like that shot. With the fake window we're looking through. They just have that plastered over a shot of a real sunset. They did that again. But Maggie, she's got a different dress on. It has a veil with it. It's a short sleeve dress. The other one was long sleeve. So, okay, she's got two dresses. But she's got that on. The skirt, it's still an empire waist, but it seems like there's more skirt to it. And she's got the necklace on. She's looking out the window. She sees the sun setting. Walks back into the room, takes the music box and starts playing it. And then she starts repeating her name. She's like, Maggie Evans. I am Maggie Evans. As she's trying to associate the music box playing with her real name instead of the I'm Josette stuff. But she stops when she hears a knock at the door, closes the music box. Willie comes in, says it's time to take you to him. I'm sorry, there's nothing I can do. You'll understand after tonight. Maggie says there's nothing I can say, nothing I can do. Willie, give in. It'll be easier. Maggie, then Maggie Evans really will be gone. Willie, tomorrow you won't care. Come on, it's time. Maggie leaves the music box up there, and Willie has her come with him, go with him. Well, the next thing we see, we're in the basement. They're coming down the stairs, And Willie has Maggie follow him down. I just thought that was a bit weird. Like, wouldn't you make her walk down in front of you? I don't know. I just thought that was a little bit just slightly odd. Like, I want to make sure she's not going to run off anywhere. I would make her go down first, but okay. But she follows him down the stairs. Willie says the sun's about to set. You're supposed to wait for him here. He starts heading back to the stairs. Maggie says, please don't leave me. Willie says, no one else must be here. So he heads up the stairs. Maggie looks down at the floor and picks up that pic she just had from earlier. Like, Willie never picked it up and put it away somewhere. He just left it on the floor, but there it is. It's still there. So Maggie picks it up. We hear that heart beating again. But she, gets that coffin lifted open. Again, the lid's really heavy. It always makes this creaking sound. And Barnabas is lying there. So Maggie raises her arm up. And just before she's about to come down, Barnabas opens his eyes, turns his head towards her. So she screams, she drops the pick, and she's back up against the wall. And Barnabas is awake now. You got busted. You tried to kill somebody. Just checking my time on this. I might run a little bit over. I did start at about 10 or 11 after, so do take that into consideration. This might be a little bit over 2 hours, but that's okay. So close. Like, if you would have done that maybe half a minute sooner, like, okay, I'm ready to go downstairs. Let's go, Willie. Come on, let's go. But I'm sure probably wasn't thinking about stabbing him until just a second before. So okay, that's all right. Yeah, we see the basement for the credits there with the coffins, and then we go into episode 251. It's still day 74. They reused the same footage from the last episode. They didn't reshoot it, they just reused the same stuff. So Willie bringing Maggie downstairs, telling her, nobody else must be here. Maggie grabs a pick, opens the coffin. Barnabas just happens to wake up right then. It just happens to be nighttime, and she drops the pick, and she's just upset. There was her chance. She's almost so close to rescuing herself. So we sort of just pick up right where we left off, and now Barnabas is out of his coffin, and he's picked that pick up. He's holding it. He says, "What were you doing with this tool? It's very sharp. I wouldn't want you to hurt yourself or anyone else. Perhaps you were trying to hurt me. You wouldn't if you were Josette, but Maggie would." Maggie says, "That's not my name. My name was Josette." Barnabas, "Don't lie to me. You resisted my will. You tried to destroy me. You deserve to die." So he gets his hand around her neck like he's choking her. Maggie screams. And I don't know, about a second later, like footsteps rushing down the stairs. It's Willie. He screams, "It's just Barnabas, don't!" So Barnabas has Maggie like she's backed up against her coffin, Josette's coffin. That's where Barnabas has Maggie. So when Willie comes running in, he's got his back to Barnabas's coffin, and he's breathing heavy. He's panicking and everything. Barnabas says, "Get out of here, Willie." Willie says, no, I won't. I can't let you kill her. Barnabas says, do you know what'll happen to you if you disobey my orders? Willie says, I don't care. If you kill her, then you have to kill me too. So he goes from, us with, Barnabas's coffin behind him, and he steps around. So now he's got Maggie behind him. So he's blocking her from him. Barnabas says, don't tempt me, Willie. Willie says, you can't kill me. Jason and the others, they'd look for me. They're already searching for her. Do you want them to search for me too? Barnabas says, you're assuming that I'm not clever enough to cope with idiots. Unfortunately for you, I am. Willie says, then kill me. But you've got to kill me first before the girl. Barnabas, I might do just that. Barnabas, listen. That pounding. Someone's at the door. I left the front door unlocked. Barnabas, I told you to keep that door locked at all times. Willie, I was going out the door when I heard her scream. Barnabas says, you stay here with the girl. If she attempts to move or cry out, I'll kill both of you. When you have to look at everybody before you leave the room, he gives them one of those looks and heads upstairs. So upstairs in the foyer, Barnabas answers the door. Victoria's there. She's got a message for him from the old house. Or not from the old house, but from up at Collinwood. What it is, the sheriff's put a curfew on Collinsport. No one is allowed to go out alone at night. Mostly for the ladies. Because of what happened to Maggie. Now, before there was sort of a curfew on the town where he said he didn't want women going out at night alone, but now it was like a suggestion before. Now it's like a hard and fast. No, seriously, everybody in town, guys too, but mostly the ladies, don't go out by yourself. So that's what that's about. I want to make sure this doesn't chime off, so I'm going to plug this in. Just a second here. Oh man. And again, this hat is purple, not blue. But Liz just thought Barnabas should know that there's the curfew out on the town now. And Barnabas asks if anybody's heard anything about Maggie, and Victoria just, no, there's not even one clue about where she is. So Barnabas is just, oh, poor Miss Evans. She was such a lovely girl. Victoria, everyone uses the past tense when they talk about her. She must be being held by the madman who's doing all these terrible things. Now we're in the basement, and he's holding on to Maggie. He's got one arm around her, and then he's got his other hand over her mouth. Probably doesn't want to repeat it when she was wandering around the room and knocking stuff over, so he's holding on to her. But he says, listen to me. Can I trust you not to move or to make a sound? You know what'll happen if you do. He'll kill us both. Maggie nods. So Willie lets her go, and she takes a few steps away from him, but the only place she really has to walk to is in front of her by the coffin, so she puts her hands on it for a second, and then it's like she doesn't want to touch it. Maggie says, I won't do anything. Thank you for stopping him. Willie, what did you do? Maggie, I tried to kill him. I had to. He was going to turn me into something inhuman. Willie, you can't kill him. No one can. If I had the power, I would have killed him a long time ago. You're lucky you're not dead. Maggie, I'd rather be dead than be turned into something monstrous. Willie says, don't say that or he will kill you. Maggie says, I don't care. Willie, don't say that. Look, I'm trying to help you. Maggie says, you can't help me. Willie, there might be a way of escaping him, or at least preventing what he wants for you. He might decide he doesn't want you for his bride. At least you'd be alive for a while. There's always a chance something will happen to end his power. Peggy says, I don't want to die. Willie says, then do what I say. Let me do all the talking. Maggie, do you really think you can stop him? Willie, I don't know, but I can try. So we're back up in the foyer, and Victoria's just about to head out, walk back to the house. Barnabas offers to walk with her. She's like, no, I'm good. Now the curfew was telling everybody, especially ladies, to not go out at night by themselves. But here it is nighttime, and Victoria's gone out by herself. It's like, wait a minute, how did you? But as Victoria's heading out, she notices there's that table that's by the stairs. Sometimes she looks over there. She's like, oh, well, that's pretty. What is that? Barnabas says, it's a music box. It's been in the family for generations. Side note, how did it get there? Because Maggie left it upstairs before she was brought down. It's not like Willie took Maggie downstairs, went up to Josette's room, took the music box, set it down on the foyer, then heard her scream, and then ran downstairs. So it's like that ring on her finger. We don't get a clear explanation as to how that happened, but there's no reason for it to be there, but it's there. So Barnabas picks it up, he opens it up, and plays it for her. And Victoria likes the tune. She says, it's lovely. It reminds me of the past. Barnabas says, I watched your face just now. You seemed very transfixed. Victoria, did I? Well, I better get back. It's like, really? I gotta go, bye. Good night. She leaves just that quick. Just, oh, did I? Gotta get back to Collinwood. Good night. So she takes off. Barnabas plays the music box again once she's gone. I wouldn't want to be playing that too much. You don't know if it's going to break, but okay, it's his. He can do whatever he wants with it. Maybe he just felt like listening to it just now. But we're down in the basement, and it's Willie and Maggie, and they're both like when you're trying to listen really hard for something. So they're listening. They hear a door close. They hear footsteps. So Willie has Maggie stand with their back up against the wall, and it's sort of like to make Barnabas have to walk as far into the room because he's got to go all the way down the stairs and then loop around to get to where they're standing at. So it's make him take even longer to get to him. But Willie's got her standing there. He says, you remember what I told you? You don't say a word. You let me do all the talking. And then they both look over, and Barnabas is standing on the stairs. Maybe you should have said that a second earlier, guy. But Barnabas comes off of the stairs, and he stands there in front of Maggie. He's being so sarcastic with her so far this episode, but he says, well, Josette, have you waited for me patiently? Willie says, she didn't move, Barnabas. She didn't make a sound. She did just what you told her to do. Barnabas, did you, Josette? But I mustn't call you Josette any longer. You are no longer worthy of that name. You will go to your death with the common name you bore when you came to me, Maggie Evans. Willie says you're not going to kill her. Barnabas, but she tried to destroy me. She must die. It won't be an easy death. You must endure greater pain than any human has ever endured. And when you die, at last, your death will be a mercy. Your body will not only be lifeless, but bloodless. Yet there is no escape. Oh, what's up, Snow Soup? Glad you made it. Had a late start. We're running over a little bit tonight. Glad you made it. So Willie's now, but before he was kind of standing off to the side. Now he's standing. He's got Maggie right behind him, and he's got his arms behind him too, like he's blocking her. He doesn't want Barnabas to get to her. Willie says, "I meant what I said, Barnabas. You'll have to kill me first." Barnabas, I might do just that, but unfortunately, I do not need you anymore. Willie, oh no, you can't do without me. You'll have no one to take care of you. No one will guard you during the day. Barnabas, I'll find someone else. Willie, but that'll take time, and they might find you here. There'll be no one to protect you without me. Barnabas, I'm willing to take that chance. Willie, you don't want to kill her, Barnabas. She was going to be your bride. You waited for her for a long time. And she was close to accepting it. You said so yourself. Barnabas, but she didn't. Willie says, well, she still could if you give her a chance. You want to give her a chance. You know you do. You still want her for her bride? Look at how beautiful she is. Barnabas turns away and says, I don't want to look at her. Willie says, oh, look at her. You still want her, and you still can have her. Look how beautiful she is, Barnabas. Look. To be honest, she's been upset this whole episode and on the verge of tears, so she looks a little bit distraught, but her clothes are pretty. But Barnabas looks at her, he steps up to her. He says, come with me. Willie says, what are you going to do to her? Barnabas says, I'm taking her with me. You stay here until I return. So he takes Maggie back towards the stairs, but instead of going up the stairs, he goes up where Maggie was first hiding and Willie found her. He goes that way. And, the whole time she's saying no, she's crying. And as Barnabas takes Maggie away, Willie holds out his hand, and you can just see, like, the tips of his fingers just touching her veil as she walks by. And then they take off, and then he's just resting his weight against her coffin, and he looks back at the wall where she was just standing, like it's the last time he's ever gonna see her. But now we're outside of that cell door. We can hear footsteps walking up to it. Maggie's protesting. So Barnabas opens the door, just kind of shoves her in there. All we can really see, it's got brick walls and there's some cobwebs. But he, pushes her in there, closes the door, locks it. He says, this is where you will stay until I come for you. By then, I will have made my final decision. So he just leaves her there. Maggie's crying. Please come back. So now we're in Collinwood. We're in the foyer. They knock at the door. Victoria comes out. She's wearing a sleeveless dress. It's like medium gray colored. Before she had her coat on, we really couldn't tell what she was wearing. But answers the door. Barnabas is there. And he brought a gift for Liz just to apologize for his infrequent visits up there to Collinwood. Victoria says, well, I'm sure Mrs. Stoddard would understand. So Barnabas opens up what he has. It's a handkerchief. It was given to Josette by the Queen of France. And like it's got a lot of lace on it. It's really fancy. And Victoria's really into it. And Barnabas is like, "What was given to Josette by the Queen of France?" And Victoria's like, "Really?" She says, "It's beautiful." Oh, John Rogers, yeah, good night. Says past his bedtime. It's all good. Almost through the episode here. But Victoria's looking at the handkerchief. She's like, well, I would treasure any family heirloom. It's because I never had a family. Barnabas is just, oh. Victoria says, well, I was raised in an orphanage. I thought you knew. Barnabas says, well, no one ever told me. Victoria says, I'd give anything to know what my family's heritage and past had been. And she invites Barnabas to stay, but he's needed elsewhere. He can't. So he's heading to the door, and right before he heads out, he tells Victoria she should stop up at the old house sometime. His special interest is the past. So Victoria would like that. She thanks him. They both say goodnight. Now we're in a new location. It's we just saw it from the outside before, that cell. Now we're actually in there. It's a concrete floor, brick walls. Maggie's laying on this like thin mattress, and the frame can't be more than a foot off of the ground. It's way low to the ground. That blanket with the 3 stripes we've seen in David's room before is there. And like cobwebs on everything. There's a little shelf on the door, or by the door right when you walk in. Way in the back, there's a barrel with it's got a candle on it, but it's all covered in cobwebs, like it's not lit. And we hear footsteps. Maggie's laying there, crying. It's like she's upset with herself. She's still all done up. She just has that veil off, but she's lying there. Footsteps get closer. Then we see through the little window there's Barnabas. So he unlocks the door. He walks in, closes the door, walks up to her, says, I have made my decision. I want to kill you. Maggie says, go ahead. Barnabas says, but I also want you as my bride. You must come to me of your own free will. Maggie says, what do you mean? Barnabas, I will kill you only when you beg to come to me as Josette. Maggie says, I will never be Josette. Barnabas says, careful. I'm close to killing you tonight. Only your beauty saves you. Maggie says, what are you going to do now? Barnabas, leave you here. Maggie says, here? In this horrible place? Barnabas, this will be your home until I decide otherwise. Maggie says, please don't leave me here. I couldn't stand it. I'd go mad. Barnabas, perhaps you'll come to find that madness is preferable to sanity, or death is preferable to life. Good night, Josette. So Barnabas heads out the door. Maggie grabs the knob to try to stop him, but he's closing the door. He's locking it up. And Maggie's just yelling through that window, just, no, please, don't leave me here. I'll lose my mind in here. Please. And we see the basement in the old house for the credits. All right. It went over a little bit. That's okay. A lot happened in those episodes. It's very important. Barnabas had everything going for him, and then Maggie saw one object, and now she remembers she's Maggie Evans, and it's all falling apart for him. I don't think that lasted a week. So over many hundreds of years, he was planning that. All his plans just fell apart. But watch when Victoria mentions that she doesn't have a family. Barnabas is kind of like, oh. So yeah, I'm glad you guys had a couple of extra hours to spend with me on a Saturday. I do apologize about the late start. Just got to get things fixed up around the place I live at in real life. You can watch Dark Shadows right now for free on Tubi. Link in the description for the channel and for the show. So I love seeing you guys. You guys make all of the bullshit worth it. So get some good sleep. Get something to eat. Smoke out on the balcony. Stay hydrated and based and sexy. And hopefully I'll have a proper light bulb in next week so you can see that my hat is purple, not blue. It's purple. But I love you guys again. You guys are all the best. I will definitely be seeing you in a chat room between now and the next show. Danny says, thanks, Nikki. Yeah, thank you guys. You guys make me laugh while I'm doing these. But I love you guys again. You guys are all the best. Thomas Collins says, thank you for a wonderful time. Absolutely. So yeah, this was fun. You can check these episodes out for yourself. You can hear from me about them first, however you want to do it. But I already said it, but I love you guys again. Once you go to says thank you so much. Yeah, thank you. And until next time.